want to go first to one of the prediction models that I like best. This is Nate Silver's. I actually think he's more accurate. I think he's more current. I think he's looking at a lot of data that say, oh, I don't know, the Alan Lichtmans of the world do not look at. Lichtman's model has his 9 special keys that are very subjective. This is a much more comprehensive model, so it's one that I actually do track, and I get a lot of Nate's research. I'm going to share some of that with you today. And I like it because he's looking at numerous factors, as well as looking at numerous paths to the White House. So taking a look at this, you can see Donald Trump still in the advantage slot right now. Trump versus Harris, Nate Silver prediction as of today, September 19th, 51% to 48.8%. Now, the only thing I would say, I mean, he has some thoughts on this. Basically, it comes down to a couple of key states. The only thing I'd say is I'm a little concerned, and I say this out of love, all right? I say this out of love because I don't want my taxes going up. You don't want your taxes going up. We don't want to be paying for everybody's housing, as Kamala wants you to do, while simultaneously creating more inflation in the economy, in housing, and every other sector for that matter, right? So I think that probably if you're watching this show, you probably want Donald Trump to win too. And if you don't, well, maybe I can help through a look at some of the economic policy issues, maybe convince you that that is the best way forward for the country. I mean, you have only to look at the inflation that we've seen over the last, however many years, now 3.5 years, to see the danger, frankly, that we are in, that we really are in as a nation. So with that in mind, I go to this and I say, I'm not entirely happy about it, because he had been trending upwards of 60% before the debate, and he's been slipping. And I'm saying to myself, like, why, right? I think I know. It's very much in vogue to say you're going to vote for Kamala Harris. Whether or not you will, I mean, we'll see. She's out there doing some interview with Oprah Winfrey today while he's having a policy sit down with some Israeli groups, American Israeli groups. So think about the juxtaposition, right? On that alone, right? He's talking policy. She's not. Right? There's no substance there with Kamala Harris. She tries on numerous accents. We got the Latina version just last night. We've heard Southern versions. We've heard the Northeastern version. I mean, you never know which Kamala Harris you're getting. There's not a ton of substance there. So I come back to, what is she representing? She's representing, frankly, a very liberal left-wing part of the party that I think would be really devastating for our economy and for our country. But why is she succeeding in the polls? And are these polls entirely accurate? I think, hear me out on this, I think a lot of people think they are going to gain social credit when they say, well, I'm voting for her. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. She wants you to feel good about everything. We're going to turn the page. How many times have we heard that now? We're going to turn the page. Turn the page to what? To nothing. I mean, we've had like volumes for the last 3.5 years of you, Kamala. There's nothing to turn the page to, just more of the same. And yet, because she's got the Taylor Swift endorsement, because she's got Hollywood's endorsement, because she's like, oh, I'm all joy and happiness and mamala, there are people that are like, oh yeah, I'll vote for her. Will they really? I'm not so sure about that, because I still think when push comes to shove, there are things like the economy that really do matter. Let's take a look at what Nate's seeing. You see, it's razor thin, like razor thin, each candidate's chance of winning. But you do see that Trump is still ahead, 51%. In other words, this is his election to win. Thank you very much. It is hers to lose. And at 48.8%, she's still losing. I want to jump over to a betting market site. You've heard me cite this before, Polymarket. It actually uses a lot of crypto to make some of these bets. And some of the technology behind Polymarket is just really innovative and interesting in and of itself, right? You know, don't get me going on Ethereum and the rest of it. But they actually use stable coins over on Polymarket, because, you know, you don't want to have all that volatility in your cryptos then influencing your bet. But I like to look at this because this is real money on the line, right? So take a look right here. This is Polymarket today, and you can see Harris at 51%, Trump at 47%. And you're like, wait a second, what is that? I'm like, what is that? I think that it's going to shake out a bit in the wash as people look at what's going on a state-by-state basis. So states that could tip the race. Let's talk about these right here. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, but the top of the heap is Pennsylvania. So if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, he's got a nearly 94% chance of winning everything. So don't forget, we're going to think about the Electoral College, right? The Electoral College is everything. I know the left wants to get rid of it because they just want to be able to win the popular vote in places like New York, Chicago, and LA, San Francisco, right? These places where they know that they can win these big population centers. But the truth of it is we have an Electoral College for a reason. And I'm pretty glad that we have that, right? Because I grew up in a very small little state where even Democrats don't want to tax you. Imagine that. That's a good thing about New Hampshire. Live free or die, baby, right? It's on the mug, which, by the way, you can get at trishregan.shop. Shameless plug. trishregan.shop. Live free or die. Trish Regan. You can get the hats and the T-shirts and the whole bit. But anyway, when you look at this, what you see is that the Electoral College really is what's going to decide the day. Because without a doubt, she's got the popular vote. That's not what he needs to angle for. He needs to angle for the likes of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan and North Carolina. Georgia, it looks like he has. North Carolina still looks like he has. But those three, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, I mean, wow, if he gets Michigan, he's got nearly a 95% chance of winning the entire thing. So this is a big deal, guys. This is a really, really, really big deal when you look at all of these little states and how much they matter in the scheme of things. So look, it's close. He is ahead, at least on the Electoral College basis for now. And I think it's important that it stays that way.